This is WBSM On Demand.
Good morning. Good morning. Folks, this holiday season, WBSM and the United Way of Greater New Bedford are looking to make a mini miracle happen for a 7-month-old, Scarlett, and her mom, Megan. Scarlett was born with a cleft palate. It's basically a hole in the roof of her mouth. Makes it difficult for her to feed without potentially choking. So she has to have special formulas, bottles, and her mother has to spend all of her time feeding her, right, to make sure she doesn't choke. It's a very sad situation, but it's a problem that money can solve. Okay, so it's really not a problem. We're going to get together and pool our money, and we're going to help this family, right? So Megan has to give Scarlett round-the-clock help, and that also leads to financial problems for her. And so we're going to pool our money and help this New Bedford family, okay? All you have to do, remember, there's no amount that's too small, no amount that's too big. Find out how to donate by clicking on a mini miracle at the top of the WBSM.com website or the WBSM app and make this miracle happen for little Scarlett and her mother. So they have a surgery set up, okay? And but the daughter, the little baby Scarlett, has to gain weight first to survive the surgery. And so it's just a problem that money can solve. So we have some great sponsors: Sousa Family Orthodontics, First Citizens Federal Credit Union, Boca Restaurant here in Fairhaven, Cask and Pig Kitchen and Ale House, Fall River Municipal Credit Union, Leach Auto Body, Stallion Plumbing and Heating and Cooling. And, of course, I told you that Chris Medeiros from South Coast Towing is going to take care of the car problems for the mother. So we're building up here, folks, all thanks to WBSM, United Way, and we've got to help this little girl, right, and her mom. These are great New Bedford people. We've got to help them. Anyway, now we're joined by a great American, in my opinion, Katie Aubin. Katie Aubin is a school committee member elected out in the town of Dighton-Rehoboth, the community of Dighton-Rehoboth, and she's really really making a great stand for, I think, young ladies and, quite frankly, for America over keeping young men, guys like me, when we were kids, teenage boys, out of girls' sports. It's just not right. Good morning, Katie. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So tell us about yourself. You're a mental health professional. Explain that.
Yes, I'm a licensed mental health professional in Rhode Island. I have my own private practice. I opened that in 2020 when I lost my job because I didn't get the COVID shot.
Okay.
But I've been a mental health professional for about 15, 17 years now.
So it was kind of good for you that they forced you out. You opened your own practice.
Yes. Yep. I did. My boss wanted me to stay, but unfortunately, if I did stay, he would be fined, not me. And
Right.
We were just too good of friends, so I couldn't do that to him. So I opened my own practice.
So as a mental health professional, what have you observed in the public schools of Dighton-Rehoboth?
Well, I think not just Dighton-Rehoboth. I think all schools. There's
Okay.
a mental health crisis right now for
Okay.
all schools. Self-harm is up, suicidal ideation, depression, social anxiety. And it was all created because of the pandemic. You can't shut down a school and isolate children, expect them to be fine.
Right. I have a neighbor who's a school teacher. My parents were school teachers. They weren't around for the pandemic. But a neighbor of mine, friend of mine, told me you can't believe the impacts of the isolation, all of that when they shut the schools. He said you just can't believe it.
You can't believe it. And then social media, these kids, were distance learning. They were scrolling all day long.
Right.
And the teenage algorithm in the United States is depression, anxiety, gender, sex. You can't stop it. And they just were home and parents had to work. So they just scrolled the internet all day and didn't talk to anybody and made friends online that weren't real.
Right. We have Katie Aubin here in studio. Talk about why you got involved with policies of keeping boys out of girls' school. It seems so obvious to me. Why do we need a policy like that? Katie, explain what is happening.
Well, I think it's because it started because the Dighton-Rehoboth field hockey athlete got her teeth knocked out.
Right.
And that was, devastating to the community. And it was by a male athlete. And this policy, yes, it's basically to keep men out of female sports.
Right.
But it also, this policy gives a choice for male athletes to not participate with female athletes.
Okay.
Think about a football team. The kicker is a girl, right? And a guy doesn't want to, tackle her or
Right.
anything like that, or wrestle. So it's both, can be men and female. But I think it's mostly to keep men out of girl sports because they're just bigger, they're faster, they're stronger. It's science. You can't deny that.
Katie, what sort of opposition have you received from this because of this?
From this, not too much. Other things, yes. But this, people call me transphobic, homophobic. It has absolutely nothing to do with that because the MIAA allows male athletes you don't need to identify as a female in the state of Massachusetts to play on a girls' team.
Okay.
That's the rule, the MIAA since the 1970s. So you can, if like field hockey, for example, there's
Yes.
no boys field hockey team, so they can play on the girls' team. I do not think that's right.
Right. I can remember being in gym class at Apponequet and playing a game of it was indoor hockey basically. And when I was, maybe a sophomore, you start to become more of a man when you get to that age, right? I was into lifting weights, okay, but it didn't matter whether I was lifting weights or not. You're just going to be bigger and stronger.
You go through puberty.
Yeah, than girls. And I remember banging into a girl and knocking her down. She was a senior. And, and I felt bad about it because I was just going for the ball and she was going for the ball. And I can't imagine if that was a competitive sport. We were just screwing around in gym class. Yeah,
and Somerset Berkeley won the state division, and their number one scorer was a male athlete. And, Dighton-Rehoboth did forfeit against Somerset Berkeley twice.
Okay.
So we took a loss of 3-0 by the rules of field hockey. But Somerset Berkeley won games 9-0, 7-0. So, and our policy allowed the female athletes from Dighton-Rehoboth to choose to play or not play.
Okay.
They decided as a whole team to forfeit. But the policy allows, say one girl or two girls didn't want to play.
Sure.
They don't have to play, but if they have enough to field a team, that they can play.
Okay.
So it's nothing more than just giving them an option.
Right.
That they can't be consequences by the district or the coach. So say a starting varsity player, if she doesn't want to play, but the team continues to play, she will not be benched the next game or face any consequences.
Okay.
So we just choose safety over victory and a choice.
Katie Aubin is here, is my guest. You can reach her at 508-996-0500. Talk about the curriculum in classrooms. Do you see a problem with curriculum and what's happening with students, what they're being taught as a school committee member?
In Dighton-Rehoboth, no. But other schools around the area, they teach stuff that shouldn't be taught in schools, that it should be left up to the parents. It should be, transgenderism, gender identity should not be in the schools. We suffered such a learning loss during COVID that we're struggling to get back. It's slowly moving up, but leave sex education and all that stuff to the parents. Mm-hmm. Let's get these kids back on track. Math, English, reading, writing, history. Let's focus on that instead of, what your parts want to be.
I have seen some of these books that are now in schools. Let me tell you something. My dad, who was a Democrat and fairly open-minded guy, he would have had the same opinion that I, and a school administrator, classroom teacher and all that. He would have had the same opinion that I have of it, which is it's pornography. I mean, when you have a cartoon of a child using a device that can only be purchased next door at the pornography store, next door here, right? They're not even allowed to I can't even say it on the radio. And it's a depiction of children using those devices. It is absolutely unbelievable. That's in the public schools.
It's in some public schools.
Some public schools,
it's not at DR. I want to make that clear.
Okay.
And it's, it's cartoon porn.
Right.
And I don't understand why people want that in a public school.
Right.
It has no place let's focus on the learning loss instead of showing children cartoon porn.
Right. It blew my mind, to tell you the truth. And because I had no idea. I mean, I don't have children in the schools. And I graduated high school in 1989. So that's where I'm at. And there was none of this stuff in the schools in the 1980s, as far as I know.
As far as I know, I don't think there was either. Probably slipped in at some point. I graduated high school in 2000.
Okay.
I didn't see any then. It wasn't on our radar. It slowly slipped in. I think it came about during the 8 years of Obama at the federal level, the Department of Education. That's where I think it started. But I don't know because I've never really looked into it. But it is absolutely amazing. I think people would be absolutely disgusted, don't you? Yeah.
If they saw what this stuff is?
Well, the surprising thing, some people aren't disgusted and advocate for this to be in public schools.
Right.
If you really want your child to look at this stuff, buy it on Amazon.
Right.
Put it in a public library. I'm not telling parents what to do, but it shouldn't be in a school where some parents are adamantly against it.
Right. And I don't know why anyone wouldn't be suspicious of an adult wanting to show material like this to their child. My father would have ripped the teacher's arm off. I'm telling you. And listen, my father was a gentle guy. I mean, if you showed his kids this stuff, he would know you were up to no good.
Yeah.
Right?
But they guise it into the inclusivity.
Right.
And it's not inclusive. It's porn.
Right.
That's it. Fact.
508-9960. We have Katie Aubin here in studio. Let me just go to the phones. Good morning. Thank you for holding.
Morning. How you doing, guys?
We're doing well.
So this is a very interesting topic, and I love her background, Katie. I like your background in mental health, and one of the things that comes to mind is the problem with the whole sports thing is more of a symptom of a larger problem, right? That came about because there's a mental health problem on the child's side in regards to gender identity. I was just wondering, as a mental health expert, if you could actually speak to that and where you saw that kind of culminate and really start to gain traction in our society. Because like Chris was saying, I don't remember this when I was growing up. I don't remember this at all when I was growing up. And I grew up, Katie, right alongside you. I graduated in 97, so we're probably in the same age bracket. So I don't remember this. And it happened at some point, and I'd like you to speak to that and how we can actually reverse this trend.
Thanks for the call, Ray.
Well, I think the transgender thing and the sports thing are different, but I guess the same, because especially with field hockey, the males in the field hockey era right now are not identifying as females.
Okay.
They are males. They dress like males. They use he, him pronouns, all the things, right? Okay. So I have not come across a trans athlete for field hockey. There was a trans female up near the Boston area for basketball. And that biological male did injure female athletes up there, and it got some traction. So I think it's whether you identify or don't identify, it's the same. You're a biological male. And I think with our sports policy, you got to kind of chip away.
Right.
And do I want to change the whole thing? Do I want to make a bill to say any biological boy can't play in a female sport? 100%, whether you identify or not. Right. So I think it's just taking the trans situation out of it and using biology.
We have Katie Aubin here in studio. We're going to talk with her next because remember, she'd had enough and she decided, I'm running for school committee. She's a mother. She's got 2 kids. And we're going to talk more about that, about dipping her toe into local politics and how she did it and whether she thinks you should do it. Because there's a lot of parents out there, I think, that agree with you, Katie, that say, hey, I got to get involved, but they just don't know how. And so we'll talk more with Katie when we come back. Katie Aubin, folks, if you want to ask her a question or speak with her, it's 508-996-05. Stick around. We'll be right back. Mac Auto Sales, 188 Rivet Street in the city of New Bedford. They repair all makes and models. So if you need to get your car ready for the winter, and I'm sure you do, give Mac Auto Sales a call. 508-565-6221. They're open weekdays 9 to 5. They specialize in foreign cars. We bring Natalie's BMW there all the time. But they also do a wonderful job with domestic produced automobiles, right? Mac Auto Sales. Ask about their aftermarket accessories and their great quality used cars they have for sale right there at 188 Rivet Street in the city of New Bedford. We are joined in the studio by Katie Auburn. Katie is a school committee member in Dighton-Rehoboth and a real champion for family values. And I want to ask Katie now, as a mother, as a wife, a family a professional, mental health professional, why did you get involved in local politics, Katie? Why did you do it?
Well, I was never political until COVID,
Okay.
and then that woke up the beast.
Okay.
When they didn't want kids to go back to school, they wanted to mask them up. I said, we're going to have a mental health pandemic.
Right.
And, I was right. Mental health is a crisis with kids right now. Learning loss is instrumental. I mean, we don't know if we can get it back. So I advocated first for kids to go back to school and to not mask.
Okay.
And then it just snowballed from there.
Katie, what was it like when you first walked down and took out nomination papers? It takes a lot of courage. Or did you not realize what you were getting into?
I did not realize what I was getting into.
Okay.
I was never, ever into politics before. I was a Democrat before COVID. Right. And then now I'm a Republican.
Right.
Running for school committee. So, and successful two times. I'm on my second term.
Right.
So, I didn't realize how much stuff, I guess. I can't swear on the radio.
Right.
But you get bullied.
Yes.
You get bullied. So,
would you encourage other moms and dads to get involved with local politics?
100%.
Okay.
It is not easy. And, school committee, you don't get paid. So it's a lot of work for free.
Right.
But if you're passionate about it, you have to step up. Because if we don't step up and, keep these kind of parent rights and this stuff out of schools, no one will, or the other side will get in and we will go backwards. So we need to.
It always is interesting to me why someone would run for school committee if they didn't have children in the schools. Right. I mean, my dad was on the school committee because he had 3 boys and was a professional educator. And, he just wanted to do the right thing. It always is weird to me when you see particularly left-wing activists who run for school committee and they want to advocate for their alternative beliefs.
Yeah. And my kid, full disclosure, goes to private school. She does not go to DR.
Okay.
I took her out of public school when they went to distance learning and hybrid learning.
All right.
I needed her in a classroom full time. I needed to work full time. She needed to be in school with peers looking at a teacher, not a screen.
Right.
So those were my personal beliefs, and I chose to put her in public school for that reason, and we just kind of followed the course.
Right.
So I don't have a kid in the school district, but I went to DR, and I want to have kind of that same thing for other parents.
Right.
And choices to keep DR kind of on the straight and narrow.
It's amazing to me how quickly it has gone from like the 3 hours, right? Reading, writing, arithmetic, and gym class to like a Marxist indoctrination camp. It's really amazing.
It is. And I think the teachers union has a lot to do with that.
Okay.
The teachers union is, and I did not realize how political they were until COVID. I went down that rabbit hole. And they cannot handle if you disagree with them. And to me, teachers should be as unbiased and unpolitical in the classroom. Outside, you do you.
Right.
But in the classroom, they need to not extend their political beliefs because they're influential. I have teachers that I love to this day that were great teachers.
Me too.
And I could have been easily influenced by those specific teachers, but they didn't do it because it wasn't a thing back then. But the teachers union is so left-winged that they can't even see a little bit to the right.
I have teachers that I had that I'm friendly with today in high school, and I kind of knew they were Democrats, but it was nothing like today. we had when I was going to high school, Katie, you won't even remember this, but it was the Mike Dukakis. He was the governor of Massachusetts. He was running for president as a Democrat against George H.W. Bush. And I used to rib my teacher a little bit about it because he was for Dukakis, but he wasn't over the top for Dukakis, and he liked it, you know. And when my dad retired, he actually sang at my dad's retirement party, and he had, you know, he said I had a Richard Nixon lunchbox. He wrote a song about me and my brothers and my parents and stuff. He knew us all. And one of the lines in his song was, Chris had a Richard Nixon lunchbox. You know, but the point being is that politics was, I think, more real American back then. I don't know. It didn't have this Marxist tinge to it like it does now.
Well, and it wasn't, you know, it was kind of not like that Tyler Hubbard song, politics wasn't table talk.
Right.
But now it's kind of all encompassing. And I want teachers to talk about controversial issues,
yes,
but explain both sides.
Okay.
If you're going to talk about, you know, I don't know, abortion, for instance, say both sides. Don't just say one. And
right.
That's where not all teachers, some teachers do not do this.
Oh, certainly
great.
there are a lot of great teachers.
Yes. But the ones that are giving their influence or opinion on the matter, that is the problem. I want controversial issues to be spoken about, just, you know, debated on both sides.
We have Katie Auburn. She's on the Dighton-Rehoboth School Committee. She's a mental health professional, and I'm friends with her uncle, and I just thought, I got to get this woman on my program. I thought she's doing a lot of important work, and she's got a lot of courage. And I do appreciate courage, because it is a rare thing today to see courage in people. It's like they've had it drowned out of them. I don't get it. But I feel like it's coming back in vogue. What do you think, Katie?
I do think
it's
people
hip to be courageous.
It is. It's not easy,
right.
Believe me. And I'm kind of stubborn, and I have thick skin. Right. I always have. So I think it's just deep in my core personalities that if you don't like me, that's a you problem, not a me problem.
Right.
The problem that I have is, I mean, the left, they're all about inclusivity and kindness. They have not been kind to me. I've had physical threats on me, a flyer with a link on what to do if you see me in public. I went to speak in Boston about the masking of children and the mental health effects on it. The rally got shut down because we got battery acid thrown on us by the left. So, you know, they teach about kindness. And as a mental health professional, I want to listen to everybody.
That's a camouflage, Katie. Yes. You figured that out now.
Yes.
They're lying. That's a camouflage.
Yes. And they bully you.
Yes.
And not everybody can take the bullying and the threats. Unfortunately, I can, and I have a very supportive husband and family, so that helps. But if you don't have a thick skin, you're going to get eaten alive.
508-996-0500. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Hey, Chris and Katie, how are you today?
Doing great.
Good, thank you.
Well, first off, you are a hero. I don't care how you frame it or not, but you standing where you're at to protect kids and to protect families, because a lot of families don't know this stuff's going on. You're a hero, and I really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you for the compliment.
No problem. You know, it's funny when you're talking about how militant things are, and I see Randy Weingarten in Washington, you know, punching her fist in the air, and I'm thinking, this is a person that's in charge of what the kids' curriculum is going to be. I guess my question is, how you were talking about the fact they're teaching these sex education lessons to kids. How young are they? What's the age groups they're starting to teach these? Using adult toys and things like that, or these books that are teaching this stuff. What's the age group that you're seeing?
It depends on the district. At DR, we have...
Give us the worst.
Kindergarten. Maybe not the toys, okay, but the pronouns and the gingerbread person, where they...
So where does aside from the kindergarten, where does the sexuality portion, because clearly using, an adult toy is a sexuality issue. Where do you see that age group coming in?
That stuff is in like the genderqueer books and other books in like middle school. But every district is different, right, and I encourage every single parent out there to make a public records request for the sex ed curriculum in their district for K to 12. The public schools
and grandparents can do that as well, right?
Anybody can.
Anyone
can. And that way you're understanding what is being taught to your child, and they have to give it to you by law.
Okay. Yeah, it's interesting because I think, you're a health professional, and I'm sure there's a debate as to where sexuality appears with kids and where, teaching anything like that and who teaches it seems to be that age group is really young or borderline really young. So anyway.
They are. And the problem is with sex, think about porn. It imprints in your brain. Mm-hmm. So you can look at porn or a picture and you can close your eyes and you can still see it.
Right.
So it imprints in your brain. So the younger that these kids look at this stuff, it's imprinted in your brain and they don't think it's wrong.
Right.
So that's the...
Well,
go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, just my only last comment is I think that's really interesting that what you just said, and that bottom line is that I feel that this stuff is being pushed under the idea of healthcare, but the fact of the matter is I really, and especially when you look at what's going on nationally, I think there's a lot of perversion that this is, it's to me, it's prepping kids way too early for, it's way too early. They don't get to enjoy their youth and experiences when they're getting put adult content in their face. And like you said, they don't forget it. So anyway.
Thanks for the call, my friend. Look, I can't unsee the picture that I saw in that book, a cartoon picture of two children screwing around with an adult toy, as that gentleman just called it. It's a better way to put it. The real term is just, I can't say it on the radio. The idea that that's a book in school, I can't say it on the radio, is crazy to me.
It is. And it's under the guise of inclusivity and teaching children to be who they are. That's great and all, but, kids pretend to be things that they're not, and that's okay.
Yes.
My daughter, when she was little, wanted to be a Disney princess.
Right.
Great. She's not going to be one, but did I encourage it? Yes.
Right.
We have a farm. She would, be a child at 3 and 4 and pretend to be a goat or a cow. Right. Did I think that she was going to do that? No, but I encouraged the play. I encouraged the imagination.
Right.
I was a tomboy. I didn't wear, feminine clothing till college. I feel like if I got caught up in this stuff, it would have been bad. Save the tomboys.
508-996-0500. Good morning. Thanks for holding.
Good morning, Chris. Great
Hey,
guest. Great guest you have. Thank you for having the courage to speak up, because we need more people in positions that you're in to really sound the alarm. And unfortunately, I think this is more sinister. I really believe this. I was just talking to a parent. It's funny that you bring up that district, because I was talking to a parent who has a child in the Fall River district. And they are being taught this, Chris, in kindergarten, about diversity, about homosexuality, lightly, the pride flag. And my question is, these children still believe in Santa Claus,
right,
and the Easter Bunny. They don't know what sex is. To me, this is more sinister. Well, look what they're doing now. They're trying to bring in Supreme Court. They're trying to get children to say, as 14, 13 years old, that they can change their sex. So what's the next step? Can children say they can have sex with adults? This is pedophilia.
Right.
This is the end game. And this is more sinister than what people believe it is. And it's happening. It's happening in Fall River. I don't know about New Bedford, but I know Fall River for a fact that as kindergarten, and he has a child in kindergarten, and he doesn't know what to do. I said, listen, private school, because they're poisoning your child. This is poison, okay? A child knows if they're going to be gay. A child knows. When they let them come to the parents, that is private. There's no form of sexuality, in my opinion, should be taught in school. And my question, to you being in the school committee, can a parent, go and sue the school system, because that's against certain people's religions. That's against my religion, okay, as a Catholic. Do I have the right to sue because you're teaching my child stuff that I find inappropriate and against my faith?
Thanks for the call, my friend. It's a good question. Katie? You're not a lawyer, but...
No, but you can definitely bring litigation to any school committee for pretty much anything.
All right. As you found out, right?
Yes.
Right.
And, I would encourage you to get the evidence first. Again, make a public records request for the sex curriculum in all K to 12, or just specifically for your whatever grade your child is in.
Right.
Make that request. And parents can also opt out of sex ed. You just simply send an email to the superintendent, assistant superintendent, asking how to opt out for sex ed, and all surveys, because surveys too have those things in there that they slip in, like the gender ideology, what pronouns you'd like to use, and things like that. So first and foremost, get the evidence from your specific school district.
Right.
Make that request, and then go from there.
I think it's important what Katie says. Everybody's district is different.
Yes.
And that also means that in your town, you can run for school committee if you'd like to run for school committee in whatever town you live in. Folks, if you're on hold, stay there. We want to speak with you, but I do have to take a quick break. I'm Chris McCarthy. Stick around. Windshield. Then call Citywide Glass. You can have it repaired in no time at all. Folks, not only is it ugly, it's dangerous, okay? Particularly as the weather gets colder. Like a day like today, it's kind of rainy, but later it'll get colder, and it freezes, cracks. It's bad. It's dangerous. You can shatter your windshield driving down the highway. You and your family are in peril. So give Citywide Glass a call. They have 2 locations, Dartmouth and Fall River, or you can make an appointment right online at citywideglass.net. Best of all, they'll send their mobile text right to your home or your office. Anywhere you want them to go, they'll fix your car. They'll fix the windshield. They'll fix mirrors, door windows, truck sliders, sunroofs, and more. All insurance is accepted, so likely won't cost you anything out of your pocket. Give Citywide Glass a call before it's a disaster. All right, folks, we have Katie Auburn here in studio taking your phone calls. She's a member of the Dighton-Rehoboth School Committee, a mom, a mental health professional, and just an all-around great American, I think. A lot of courage this woman has. Good morning. Thanks for holding. Hello, you're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
We can barely hear you, but try.
I have a question. So I live in a Acushnet and a taxpayer, and so I can request a public records request for the sex education in the school district.
So Katie, her question is, she lives in the town of Acushnet. She's a taxpayer. She wants to request the sex education curriculum. She can do that.
Yes, and I don't know if you have children in the school, but it doesn't matter if you do or don't have children in the school. You can make a public records request for anywhere. We have.
Okay.
How does she do it?
You have to. I would ask the school committee secretary how to do it. A superintendent, assistant superintendent. There should be a form on the district's website for public records requests. Sometimes it's just as easy as sending an email.
Okay.
But you can do it for any state or district. We have a lot of people looking at Dighton-Rehoboth right now. We're getting a lot from Texas and Ohio, but we have to do it so it doesn't matter where you live or if you have kids or not.
Okay, so and I have grandchildren in Fairhaven, so I want to do that also in Fairhaven.
Yes.
Because I've seen the books. How do I find out what books are in the libraries? Because I've seen these books at the library, the public library, and that's fine if they want to put them there. But I'm totally against them in the school system.
You can go on a website, I believe it's SAILS, and I believe it's that. I would have to double check. I can check during the break, but you can go on that website and then type the book name that you're looking for and what school you want to look for it in, and it will show you if it's in that school or not. But be careful, because sometimes it might be at the public library and not at the school.
Okay.
So I can't request from the library in Acushnet and Fairhaven, tell me what books you have in your library, and kind of go through it.
I don't see why not.
Yeah, you could do that, right?
Yeah, I don't see why not, because it's curriculum. So you're asking for the curriculum. You're asking for and they'll probably just send you to a website or give you that same website that I just said on air. But you can make a request for anything in the school that you need to.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you for the call. Katie Auburn is here in studio. If you want to follow her, she's on Facebook. If you want to follow her, it's Katie Ferreira-Aubin, right?
Yes.
Katie Ferreira-Aubin is how you find her on Facebook, folks. I'm Chris McCarthy. Stick around. We'll be right back. American families here in Massachusetts. Katie, you recently won a big award from the Mass Family Institute. Talk about that.
Yes, I with another woman, I got Citizen of the Year for the sports policy and a couple other policies that Dighton-Rehoboth passed. So it was a great night, and I'm super honored to be recognized that way.
They're a good resource, right?
They're huge. They're huge, and the best part is they work on donations.
Okay.
So whenever I need, advice, they're always there telling me, how to do things and
Right.
kind of guiding me. So yeah, they're a great resource.
They're a private organization. They don't take state funding.
No.
Right. So they don't have to do what the government tells them to do.
No, it's all donations.
Right.
All donations.
Mass Family Institute, right?
Yes.
Mass Family. So, Katie, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I want you to, you and your family, you have 2 children. Have a great Christmas, you and your husband. You're a courageous woman. I'm really glad your uncle introduced us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
You're always welcome back here. What's the next controversy you're going to make?
Who knows?
Who knows, right? You're just trying to be you.
Yeah, I got to
Right?
stand up for parents' rights, medical freedom, everything. Parents should be able to parent their children, not any school district, not the government.
It's always a fight, though, right?
Always.
Always a fight. Katie, again, really glad to meet you. I'm glad I had you in the studio. And if you need anything, we're always a resource for you. You can always come back anytime you'd like. 508-996-0500. Stick around, folks, for the news, and then we'll do this again in the next hour. Going to talk about the New Bedford City Council, the Capitol Theater project, and it's really going to be important to hear